Is it possible to look like you're on steroids without ever actually taking steroids? I think it is.
Jeff Nippard, the messiah of natties or the saint of science-based training. For years, he's been the go-to YouTuber for natural lifters and even enhanced ones. But lately, our beloved prophet of progressive overload seems to have lost his holy gift of spotting juiced-up bodybuilders. And that's not even the worst part, because while everyone's busy clowning him for the Hussein drama, the real story is actually hiding in plain sight. This is the same guy who's made detailed videos on how much muscle someone can realistically gain while on steroids, breaking down the data, showing the numbers, and yet, when it comes to calling out obvious cases, all that knowledge just vanishes. Combine that with some more than interesting business strategies and you've got a prime example in how to confuse and lie to your fans. I originally didn't want to make a video about Jeff Nippard, because honestly, this topic has been milked by practically everyone in the fitness industry. And to be clear, clowning on Jeff isn't really my style. He's actually one of my favorite influencers. But recently, out of curiosity, I clicked on one of his videos and decided to check out his paid training plans. Now, he already shares tons of information for free. Full body splits, upper, lower, push-pull, you name it. So I wondered, what could his paid plans possibly offer that he hasn't already covered? Well, I went to his website to have a look. So some of his guys are for the classic push-pull legs model, which is cool. You know, that should cover basically anything someone would want to know about training. But then he also has programs like upper-lower splits. Okay, fine, maybe I want to switch out my splits sometimes, that's reasonable. But he also sells programs just for arms, back, chest, neck and traps, forearms, and even for bench and squat exercises. Wait a minute, why do these even exist? Shouldn't the $50 ultimate push-pull leg system already teach me all of that? And then I saw he actually has 25 different training plans. And then there's the $50 pure bodybuilding program, which he claims is different from anything else he's released because it's specifically designed to maximize pure muscle growth. But shouldn't that be the whole point of every other program? Why would I pay for something unless I wanted to maximize my strength and muscle gains anyway? So I decided to take a closer look at 3 of his training programs. Let's start with the pure bodybuilding program, which is Jeff's full body hypertrophy system. One thing this program does well is it includes video links for most of the exercises, which is helpful because it covers big compound lifts like squats, presses and rows that of course can be a bit tricky if you don't know the proper form. But here is where it starts to get repetitive. Many of the exercises and principles here are also in his other programs. So while it's comprehensive, you're often just seeing the same bicep curls, tricep extensions and rows over and over. Plus, the same explanations about the progressive overload, training volume, and recovery. Next up is the arm hypertrophy program, which focuses specifically on biceps and triceps. It mixes compound lifts and isolation exercises, and it talks a lot about hypertrophy science. But honestly, most of this is stuff Jeff already covers in his free videos. And there are no exercise videos included, because according to Jeff, in order to keep the price of the program low, he couldn't produce videos for these exercises. And he also mentions the fact that it is pretty easy to find them online. Which, yeah, you could find them pretty easily, but really? You're paying for a digital program and the videos are left out to keep costs low? Finally, the forearm hypertrophy program is a mini program that targets forearms and grip strength. Like the arm program, there are no videos, supposedly because the exercises are simple. Once again, a lot of the information overlaps with what's already in the other programs. There's just a ton of repetition. Across all 3 programs, the content is often recycled. A lot of the exercises, explanations, and science principles are already available for free in Jeff's YouTube videos, The full body program does include videos, which is helpful, but the specialized arm and forearm guides don't. Essentially, you're paying for slightly repackaged content. Most of you probably already know the controversy. Jeff made a video where he examined the blood work of Hussein Farhat and Julien Fitzgerald, and declared both of them natural. For the fitness community, this was an insanely wild claim that definitely didn't blow up in Jeff's face. People were shocked because both of these guys have physiques that many had already questioned, and here was the science-based lifter putting his credibility on the line to back them up. The problem wasn't just the statement itself, but actually the reasoning behind it. Blood work results can easily be manipulated, and Jeff didn't seem to acknowledge that. How is it even possible that for someone who markets himself as a natural lifter, who acknowledges the effects of steroids and how quickly it can build muscle, could make such a statement? Oh, and also, one of his most popular videos is actually on this topic. So let's dive in and see just how much Jeff seems to have forgotten while making that first controversy video.
Okay, so what do steroids add? Well, let's start with the science. This is one of the most famous studies on anabolic steroids by Boston and colleagues from 1996. You may have seen it before. They split 43 subjects into one of 4 groups. Group 1 didn't train or take steroids. They didn't do anything. Group 2 trained naturally without taking steroids. Group 3 trained enhanced. They did take steroids. And Group 4 did not train but still took steroids.
He cites the Boston 1996 study, where the results show that people who trained while using steroids build about 3 times more muscle than natural lifters. Even more shocking, those who took steroids and didn't train at all still gained almost twice as much muscle as the ones who train naturally. Whereas Jeff emphasizes they made progress
without even training.
So, going back to that original video, Jeff ran blood work on Hussein and Julien, and both came out clean. He used that as evidence to say they were natural, but the blood work only shows where your hormones are at that moment. If someone's off cycle, their levels can look perfectly normal, which just means they weren't running anything at the time of the test. And Jeff never even mentioned that possibility. He didn't say, oh, these are the results, but maybe they're just off right now. Instead, he framed the results as proof of lifetime natty status. In here, Jeff somehow forgets his own videos where he explained in detail how insanely quick and easy it is to build muscle while on steroids.
Here's what I think. Sometimes, when you combine world-class genetics with super hard training, you really can get to a level of muscular development that some people simply aren't going to believe is possible naturally, no matter what you say.
I'm in the gym all the time. It's like somebody's like basically saying, nah, you didn't put in the work, you just stuck a needle in your arm. But
right.
I'm like afraid of needles. I hate needles like so much.
See, that's how you know he's not enhanced, because he said you put it in your arm and you don't inject in your arm.
But here, suddenly, Julien not knowing where to inject steroids becomes proof that he's natty? Come on, saying this, it's almost insulting. Julien could have easily just played dumb on camera. Pretending not to know how injections work doesn't magically erase the insane amount of mass on his frame. I mean, look at him. There shouldn't be a shred of doubt in anyone's mind. This guy is on every possible juice known to mankind.
Now, of course, it's always possible that someone could have used something in the past, but I think the most plausible scientific explanation is that when you combine years of really hard training with dedicated nutrition and the right parents, the results can be super impressive.
At the end of the video, Jeff basically says that, sure, maybe someone could have used something in the past, but actually, the most plausible explanation is just years of hard training, nutrition, and the right parents. He even goes on to claim that dialing in your diet, specifically lowering body fat, is the #1 thing you can do to look as jacked as possible, naturally. So I think that the problem here is pretty obvious. Both Julien and Hussein have only been training for 3 years, not decades. Julien himself has admitted on Jeff's channel that while he eats a lot of protein, he still hits up Wendy's just like anyone else, so his diet isn't even that good. Meanwhile, Jeff has trained for over 2 decades, yet these guys who are taller than him have managed to pack on more muscle in a fraction of that time in just 3 years. To claim this is just hard training, good nutrition, and genetics is just insulting.
If you want to maximize your own natural potential, you need to dial in your nutrition. I'm using MacroFactor to run my own cut this summer, and honestly the app makes the whole process super easy and kind of fun. Tracking your macros is like playing a game to hit your targets each day. We have a super fast barcode scanner, and we recently rolled out a new AI photo feature where you just take a picture of your meal and the app will estimate the macros.
What's worse is the way Jeff ties it all back to his app. He basically says if you just dial in your nutrition using his app, you could achieve a physique like Julien and Hussein. But that's just a fucking lie. No app is bridging the gap between 3 years and 20 years of training, and certainly not one with a shitty AI calorie counter. And of course, because the first video blew up, Jeff had to make a second one to clear the air. But instead of actually addressing the obvious, what did he say?
I can't say with 100% certainty that Hussein Farhat has never taken steroids. I can't say that, but I can say with 100% certainty that Hussein Farhat's physique is achievable without steroids. His blood work is normal, his FFMI is normal, and his transformation, while suspicious, is possible.
Basically that the amount of mass Hussein and Julien have built is totally normal for the time frame, and that they probably just have 1 in a billion genetics. And you know what? I'll actually agree with him there. Those guys do have 1 in a billion genetics, but not for muscle building. Their genetic gift is clearly in how efficient their bodies can synthesize and tolerate steroids. So yeah, Jeff did end up giving out some pretty outrageous information in those videos, but he did at least admit taking a nail because he trusted Hussein. The bigger question, though, is why Hussein and Julien were even in his videos in the first place. What exactly did Jeff have to gain by putting them on his channel and vouching for them as being natural? If we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, both Julien and Hussein had already been making the rounds with a lot of popular influencers, doing collabs, challenges, and workout videos that were already getting tons of traction online. My guess is that Jeff's media team saw an opportunity there. Even though Jeff is without a doubt way more popular than both of them combined, they were hot at the time. So it looks like Jeff wanted to jump on that wave of popularity, bring them into his content, and use that hype to create a video that would blow up, which it kind of did. But what exactly would he even get out of it? Well, it's pretty simple. More downloads for his app. By putting Hussein and Julien in front of millions of viewers and saying that their physiques were achievable through proper nutrition and training, Jeff basically created the perfect ad for his program. It was like, look at these guys, you can get here too. All you need is the right plan. Also, they are both natural, the blood work proves it. The problem is, everything felt fake from the start. Even by the way Jeff looked at them in his videos, you could tell in his eyes that he didn't actually believe they were natural. But instead of calling it out or distancing himself, he doubled down and went along with the narrative. And that's the part that feels the most dishonest. Not that he made a bad judgment call, but that he was willing to keep pushing something he didn't even seem to fully believe himself. At the end of the day, I don't actually dislike Jeff Nippard. As I have said before, his videos are still some of the best on YouTube. He makes the science of training easy to understand. He's helped so many people figure out training, and honestly, I've learned a lot from him too. But yeah, his paid programs and the whole Hussein-Julien situation, that stuff definitely makes you at least raise an eyebrow. Also, a lot of the training plans feel recycled, and the controversy kind of shows that he might stretch the truth for views or app downloads.